share, recipe share. Share a little recipe with recipe share. Recipe share, recipe share. Share a little recipe with recipe share.
Hi, thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Recipe Share, a program on AADL TV where we take a few minutes to share recipes from a featured category. Today's category is the big salad. I'm Beth, and I've got Katie and Elizabeth here with me today. So Elizabeth, let's hear about your big salad.
Sure. So I recently checked out this cookbook from the library, Super Natural Simple. I was excited. It took a while to come in. I'm trying to look for the publication date. I think it's pretty new. It doesn't have a new sticker on it, but I think it's relatively new. And the subtitle is Whole Food Vegetarian Recipes for Real Life. And I have been really enjoying this. I've made multiple recipes out of this, and I just always appreciate when the ingredients are accessible. I do not like going to specialty stores very much. And, I'm happy to, go to Arbor Farms or whatever, Whole Foods for some special things, but this is great. I really enjoyed it. And for my big salad, I made the summer tomato and celery salad from this book. And it's nothing earth-shattering, but it was really good. And I decided to make it because it said, make this salad in late summer when tomatoes are at their peak. And I did this about 3 weeks ago and had so many tomatoes from our garden, from our CSA. And it also calls for basil, which we had a ton of. So I was excited to use it up. And it's really delicious. So basically you thinly slice celery stalks, you thinly slice a shallot. You can use whatever tomatoes you like, but it just calls for, this one called for 4 larger ripe tomatoes cut into bite-sized pieces, but we have smaller sun golds and cherry tomatoes. So I just cut those in half. And then 1/3 cup of chopped mixed fresh herbs. Suggestions were dill, cilantro, basil, and chives. I did basil and cilantro because that's what we had. And then 1/2 cup of toasted walnuts, some extra virgin olive oil, fine grained sea salt, and then they emphasized 2 tablespoons of good quality white wine vinegar. So I did actually go to Whole Foods and buy it looked good. I don't know what makes it good or not. I just had the inexpensive kind. So anyway, honestly, you just toss everything together, drizzle the vinegar and oil over the top. I did toast the walnuts. That gave them a really nice nutty flavor that was, you know how it does that, makes it even more nutty than usual. And then it said, adjust with more oil, salt, and vinegar as needed. So I did add a little more salt because I really like my tomatoes salty. It was delicious. I served it I'm trying to think if I might have done a weekday lunch with it. I remember giving it to my husband. So I think I did a weekday lunch when I was working from home, threw it together. It didn't take very long. It was delicious. Here's a photo of it in a bowl. And again, nothing wild, but something to really think about. And I like salads that don't always use lettuce because sometimes I don't want that. And I don't find that I think I like salads that have a little more dressing, so it's nice to have more hearty ingredients that can kind of handle that. So that's summer tomato and celery salad from Supernatural Simple.
Very, very cool. I have to say, I never would have thought of a combination of the flavors celery and tomatoes, really. And then I think that throwing the toasted walnuts that we said in there too, the 3 of those things together are so different to me, but I can kind of picture how they would taste good together in my head. So I'm super excited to try that together. It does seem like something that would be new and exciting to me, at least.
Yeah, I have all the ingredients. I have a shallot, I have celery. We just got a really big tomato from our CSA, but our own tomatoes have not been doing so well. But yeah, good. Yeah, big one from CSA. So yeah, that sounds like a super simple thing to throw together.
It was really good. And I liked the texture too, with the different crunch of the celery, and the tomatoes were a little softer, and the walnuts. So that was kind of nice. So yeah, would recommend giving it a try. It's so easy. You can't really go wrong. So
I just wanted to bring up about the white wine vinegar. There's not a staple in my house, and I had a recipe recently that called for it, so I did pick some up. And it's nice to have that option because red wine vinegar does always turn it something red. So I was glad that I added that to my repertoire.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. So yeah, I don't know if it matters to buy the good quality or not, but whatever. So Katie, what's your big salad?
All right, I will tell you about my salad. I have to say I'm really super excited about this category. Salad's like my favorite food, so I was ready to dig in and find something new. And I originally saw this, well, I saw this salad described in an article in the New York Times Magazine called "A Salad So Good You Could Eat It for Breakfast." I love salad for breakfast, and I think that's a little unusual, but I was intrigued. Read the article, it sounded great, but of course they don't give you the full recipe. They link to it and there's a paywall. So I did some Googling and I was just not coming up with the full recipe. So after like a couple of days of just really obsessively looking for things and ways to pull it all together, I ended up buying a subscription to the New York Times cooking section just to get this recipe. And I will say that I think it was worth it, especially since when I went to go cancel my subscription, they like considerably lowered the price for me. So I sort of stuck with it too. So if you guys need some New York Times recipes, you just let me know. Anyway, the salad, it's called a sous chef salad, and it follows the model of a classic French salad. So it's kind of like reminiscent of a niçoise salad. It's got some of the cooked elements and raw elements to it, but it's got some other like fun surprises in there as well. So you start with your cooked elements. This recipe I thought was kind of neat because it makes the 3 cooked elements all in one pot of water, one after another. So you boil your pot of water and you put in your potatoes. It calls for marble tomatoes, which I've seen. So they're called that because they're shaped like a marble. They're about this big. They're tiny. Seeing them at Whole Foods, they call them peewee potatoes sometimes. That's where I got them. So then you boil your green beans. And then finally, you're supposed to do your eggs. So you get hard-boiled eggs. I use an egg cooker, so I just kind of skipped that step. But then once you've got all your cooked items ready, you assemble your salad. And this is a very, very large salad. It says it serves 2, which I think was accurate, but only if you're very hungry for a big salad. I have to each day, and this is the platter that I made it on. So this is half of the salad fit on this platter. So very large salad. I enjoyed having it twice in a row though. So here's what you do. You tear up your bib lettuce and you put, or butter lettuce, and you put that on your platter. And then you split your green beans half-wise, put those on top, and then you split your potatoes and you arrange them artfully. This recipe calls for you arranging everything very artfully. You have some brined artichokes that you quarter and toss those in, and then have cherry tomatoes, quarter radishes, and then quarter your hard-boiled eggs. Then you use jarred tuna. So this is my first time using jarred tuna rather than a tuna steak or canned tuna. So you take the jarred tuna out of the jar and you just break it into chunks and scatter it over top. And then you take the oil from the jarred tuna and you just sort of drizzle that over the top the whole salad. Top it with scattered red onion, split Kalamata olives. Then you do make a little bit more dressing, which is just red wine vinegar, olive oil, salt, and pepper. And then right before you dress it, you tear a bunch of basil leaves over top to release their fragrance. And then you just serve it on a beautiful platter. I'll show you the picture of the one that I made for myself. I really did think it was one of the prettiest salads that I've seen. And it was so ridiculously delicious. I loved it. And I could see like just making the full recipe and it being on like an even big platter just for like a party. I think it would be so pretty and people would really like it. And because of the way that it's assembled, you could take the little pieces that you wanted and just like make it your own. So I thought it was really good. It was worth the subscription to the New York Times cooking section, at least for now. But yeah, Sous chef salad would highly recommend.
That is so cool. I love that. And as you kept saying more ingredients, I was just like, wow, wow, wow. But it doesn't sound particularly like difficult, really. I mean, a lot of the stuff is just kind of quartering and chopping a bit. You have to boil a few things, but it sounds fascinating. I would love to give it a shot. I will have to look for, when you send over the recipe, I'll have to put it on my grocery list.
So the jarred tuna is,
Mhm.
do you see that where the rest of the tuna is? I guess I've never noticed it before.
It was at Whole Foods was where
Okay.
I got it. You know what though? I've seen it at Meijer too. I know that I recall seeing, because I was surprised by it. I was like, oh yeah, Meijer has it too. So yeah, but I think it is within like all the tinned fish section. You can find it there.
And is the point of the jarred tuna to have the oil that it's in? Was that your takeaway?
So I think it's the fact that the tuna is a little bit more high quality. So I
Okay.
think you're getting more of like a steaky tuna from it than a flaky tuna. The texture was the big thing that I noticed, but I also do think that there's something to be said about a resealable jar, especially if you're using the oil multiple times to make the salad.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I haven't worked with that before myself either. So
Yeah,
that
it was my first time. It was good.
I'm thinking too that even if you were to use oil in it from the canned tuna,
Mhm.
it still has that metallic kind of taste to it. So
Yeah,
maybe
is
that
so
would,
true.
and like
Yeah.
you said, more quality. I'm intrigued by that. Especially for like a major, meal salad, not
Mhm.
just tuna sandwich. So,
Yeah,
which I love.
definitely something to try. I would recommend it. I definitely noticed a difference.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, Beth, please tell us about your big salad.
All right. Well, my big salad, I knew I wanted to make it with peaches because we got a bag of peaches at the farmer's market, and my husband wanted to make some things with it, so I still had a bunch. Actually, it only used like 1.5 peaches, but it's a peach and burrata salad on a bed of greens. And I also knew I wanted burrata because I wanted to use it for another recipe. So I took a couple parts from 2 different websites that I found it on. The main salad part was from Half Baked Harvest. I just Googled peach and burrata though. So I put it on a bed of greens. I sliced the peaches, and again, it was like 1.5 peaches, pretty big ones. I sliced red onion really thin, halved cherry tomatoes, toasted pine nuts. That was my addition. And did I say fresh basil leaves? Because I added that too. And then for the other part, I used a balsamic glaze, which I got from two peas in their pod. And I don't always like straight balsamic vinegar, but I really liked this, and I have the recipe. It was plenty. It was a 1/2 cup of balsamic vinegar and then like 3 spoonfuls of sugar, and then just reduce that down a little till it thickens. And then I plated it. Here's a picture. There's also a picture of it on my plate, but so I put it on a platter, and it's very pretty. And then I don't think I mentioned the burrata, which I took one big ball and pulled it apart and then squeezed the inner liquid on top of it. So it was beautiful and it was good. And it just goes to show you, really anything can make a salad, if you just put good stuff together. So
I love fruit and burrata together. That is just like such a delicious combination. I've had it with citrus and peaches, and it's just like my mouth is watering right now. Honestly, it sounds delicious, and it does sound like it was really beautiful. So
yeah,
I'm inspired.
it's so good. And I have the burrata, I got it at Costco. it says use within 1 to 2 days. And, it was like 6 or 8 of the balls, and I've actually had some today, and I'm not dead. So it's been like a week and a half, and it tasted perfectly fine. So I think that don't get all caught up in the man trying to sell you stuff. But anyway, if you don't have any other comments, then I'd like to say thank you for watching Recipe Share. Be sure to click the link below to look at the event page on aadl.org to find the recipes we talked about and share your own in the comments. Join us next time when we'll be talking about recipes that we've seen on TikTok. We look forward to seeing what you've been making, so thanks for sharing.
Recipe share, recipe share, share a little recipe with Recipe Share.